Also in Boston for the marathon was the University of Mobile cross-country coach. Local 15's John Zanita spoke with him by phone earlier this evening. John, this isn't his first Boston Marathon, but he did notice something was different before the race even started.
He really did, Kim. He noticed bomb-sniffing dogs at the start line, people on the roofs who appeared to be spotters. This was all before the marathon even started. He's never seen security like that at a race, and he's been in plenty of them. He said they even made announcements on the loudspeaker saying it was just a training exercise. His wife was sitting in one of the seating sections by the finish line where one of the explosions went off. She thankfully left her seat to meet up with him after he finished the marathon. He told me his wife saw law enforcement canines at the finish line as well before the explosions went off.
They kept making announcements saying, participants, do not worry, this is just a training exercise. Well, evidently I don't believe they were just having a training exercise. I think they must have known, they must have had some kind of threats or suspicions called in. I've run in some of the biggest marathons in the world. I've run in London, in the Washington, D.C. one, Chicago, and I've never seen anything like that before a marathon.
Now, Coach Stevenson says he heard 2 explosions, saw the big white cloud of smoke, and started running away with his wife. He told me he and his wife are okay and that they were evacuated to their hotel.
Well, as we have been reporting all day long, several local runners were in Boston today for the marathon.
Now, one of those was University of Mobile cross-country coach Ali Stevenson. His wife was sitting in the stands where the bomb went off just moments before the explosion. Local 15's John Zanita joins us now.
John Stevenson is really a veteran marathoner racing all over the world. He says he noticed something a little different before today's race.
Well, he did, Greg. He noticed a lot more security before the marathon, much more than he'd seen at any other marathon, including bomb-sniffing dogs, spotters on the roofs, and loudspeaker announcements saying it was just a training exercise. But city law enforcement officials have said there were no credible threats before the race.
My wife, Melanie, she had been sitting right where the explosions went off.
Cross-country coach Ali Stevenson had just crossed the finish line.
She had come to see me at the finish, and then we were walking back down towards the finish area.
Then, right where his wife had been sitting.
And all of a sudden, we heard a loud explosion, and this big sulfur smell came through, and then another big explosion went off, and then people just started running, and then people crying in the street. It was a horrible experience.
Stevenson remembered seeing heightened security before the marathon.
At the start line this morning, they had bomb spotters on the roofs of the buildings, and they had bomb-sniffing dogs coming up and down at the start line, and Melanie said there was bomb-sniffing dogs at the finish line.
They even made announcements on the loudspeaker about the increased security.
They kept making announcements saying to the participants, do not worry, this is just a training exercise. Evidently, I don't believe they were just having a training exercise. I think they must have known, they must have had some kind of threats or suspicions called in.
Stevenson says he's been at plenty of marathons in major cities, but he's never seen that level of security.
I've run in some of the biggest marathons in the world. I've run in London, in the Washington, D.C. one, Chicago, and I've never seen anything like that before a marathon.
Now, Stevenson tells me the fact that he finished the marathon when he did and his wife left her seat to meet him when she did right before the explosions is just plain miraculous. Greg and Kim.
John, thanks. I talked with Pat